Earth is a planet of extremes. Extreme places and extreme
Inventions.
but some
Invention.
more extreme than others. Join us as we count down to find the most unusual and the most extraordinary on the most extreme.
Inventions of the Industrial Revolution.
At number 10, the water frame. It was invented at the very beginning of the Industrial Revolution. The water frame transformed the process of producing cloth from manufacturing at home to manufacturing of cloth in mass production in factories. It was made by Richard Arkwright in 1769. The spinning machine was powered by water. That's where the name water frame comes from. It could spin 96 threads of yarn at one time. It was much faster than human labor. And number 9, the sewing machine. It allowed clothing to become mass-produced. Therefore, clothing became cheaper. The sewing machine inspired many women to become part of the workforce because they wanted to use the new sewing machine. The sewing machine's popularity also benefited businesses that made the materials for sewing machines, like metal and needle parts. Also benefited corporations that sold thread.
The next invention in our countdown is the cotton gin. This machine was designed to remove cotton from its seeds by using pulling hooks and a small screen to force the cotton through the screen. It was invented by Eli Whitney on March 14, 1794. This invention made the cotton industry of the South explode. Although the cotton gin became a much easier way to process cotton, it resulted in a greater availability and cheaper cloth, but had an increase of slaves. The slaves were needed to pick the cotton for the machine, therefore arguments for the continuation of slavery strengthened. Now on to invention number 7. The flying shuttle was invented by John Kay in 1733. It improved looms to enable weavers to weave faster. Originally, the large looms would need 2 weavers to throw the shuttle, but with the improvements, this invention was thrown by a lever and could be operated by 1 weaver. This transformed the textile industry in Great Britain.
The steamboat sails in as number 6 in our countdown. Although many attempts at this invention were made, the first to be successful was made by Robert Fulton in 1807. The steamboat made the transportation of goods and people more efficient. Although a source of pollution, it was a great source of reliability. By being powered by steam, people no longer needed to worry about wind or current, and now could schedule departures and arrivals. Next on track in our countdown is the steam locomotive. Clocking in at number 5, the steam locomotive was the lean, mean, steam-powered machine invented in 1814 by George Stephenson. This invention allowed for mass abundances of cargo to be delivered from one place to another, as well as linking countrysides to major cities. It provided more jobs and, as an effect, more child labor and pollution. Regardless of these negative outcomes, it's proved itself worthy in the countdown by cutting previous transportation times into fourths.
Rolling into number 4 in our countdown is the Model T. This revolutionary automobile was built by Ford Motor Company from 1908 until 1927. The Model T changed the way Americans worked and traveled. And because of Henry Ford's advancements in the assembly line, this car was the first affordable automobile to a majority of Americans. So for the first time, owning a car became a reality for the average American worker and not just the wealthy. But even though the Model T was a great revolutionary invention, it does not compare to the next invention we have on the countdown. Without our third invention on the countdown, many of the things you own today would be too expensive to buy. That is why the assembly line is number 3. The first assembly line used for large-scale manufacturing was installed by Henry Ford in 1913 and was used to mass-produce entire automobiles. His invention/innovation reduced the time it took to build a car from 12 hours to 2 hours. And without the assembly line, our last invention on the countdown would have never made the top 10 list.
Number 2. The telegraph. The electric telegraph was invented by Samuel Morse in 1832. The telegraph was used by sending a flow of electricity through a wire and was stopped for shorter or longer periods. These periods were represented in dots and dashes. Each series of dots and dashes represented a different letter of the alphabet. They could then be combined to make words. This invention was revolutionary during the Industrial Revolution because it increased communication exponentially. This made information that would normally take days or weeks to get from point A to point B now take hours or minutes. This increased the spread of ideas, information, and simple communication. The most extreme inventions in the countdown have affected the Industrial Revolution in too many ways to count, but this one's a hothead. The type of steam engine that greatly impacted the Industrial Revolution was created by James Watt in 1765. Although there had been previous models of the steam engine, Watt greatly improved it by using a separate condenser to avoid heating and cooling the cylinder with each stroke. This model, as well as other models that were updated by James Watt, were used in the Industrial Revolution. This invention was revolutionary because of how it increased the amount of power produced while decreasing the amount of fuel used. Also, it was used to make iron, which was produced in order to make machinery and tools as well as to build bridges and ships.